Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today we are going to be talking about which knife would I keep if I have to sell every knife in my collection. I've done two of these before, and this guy has won both of them. And this is going to be the third installment because, well, even though my knife collection is quite minimalist, all things considered, it has grown a little bit, and maybe by the end of this year I might have a few more knives in my collection if the Protect Malibu comes back in stock in Warncliffe, and the Giant Mouse Riv, and well, just a whole bunch of other knives. So without further ado, let's start deleting this as we go along. First knife I will get rid of is the Benchmade Bugout because of that. See? There's no locking mechanism. The Omega springs broke. I will eventually finally buy some third-party ones, but I don't know when I will do that or when they will arrive. Just overall very disappointed with this guy because I've had many Ganzos that I've had longer than a Bugout, which the Omega springs didn't break. Next up in my collection, I will get rid of this guy. This is the Buck Knives 112. Okay, this is the Slim Select version. It is a really nice knife as a knife and nothing else. The ergonomics are quite good because, well, you have this little cavity here that all four of your fingers can go into. I'm not fancying the recurve very much, nor the pocket clip, although it does work quite well. It's actually a very easy knife to carry, very nice knife to use, but it's a knife that, number one, it has no real fidget factor because you can't flick it out. Number two, this back lock here all the way in the back means that it is a two-handed knife to close it, and it's just a knife that serves no purpose in my current collection. So this is going bye guys. I know this is a lot of traditionalists out there would like this, but yeah, I mean, this is not, it doesn't serve a function in my collection. And the thumb starts to vibrate for some reason. Can you hear that? It shakes. Okay. Next up, the next knife I'm gonna push out of my collection is this guy. This is the CJRB Rear. Okay, this is a really nice knife design. It is a very pretty knife design. Two things that kind of turned me off about it. Number one is ergonomics. I do not like that it does not have a little finger guard. Okay, because I always have this worry that my fingers would just slip up onto the blade, and the blade stock's a little bit thick for me for such a small knife. You know, this knife has a lot of features I really like. It's very easy to take apart. T8 screws here and here. Has a nice blade steel. It has I believe it's 9CR. Is this 9CR? What is this? 12C27N. So it's a good budget steel. It is carbon fiber, although I'm not a fan of this carbon fiber. I was really hoping this guy would eventually take the place of one of my favorite knives of all time, which is the CJRB McKenna. But yeah, it just didn't do the trick for me, mainly because the CJRB McKenna had a much nicer blade shape, which this guy, well, unfortunately doesn't. Okay, next up, we have my current running collection. This is the collection where, you know, if I was gonna go and grab something that day to use, it would be from these five right here. So let's talk about the two budget options right now. So we have two budget options. We have the 10-gram Santa Fe, and then we also have the Ganzo F753. This is about 30 USD. This was about that I won in a lucky draw, by the way. This is about 20 or less than 20 USD. Bought it for about 75 ringgit. Okay, the advantages of this guy, I really like this blade shape. It is a nice thin ground because it's a very high flat grind and very thin blade. It has a nice like little sheep's foot blade, which I really enjoy. Very easy to take apart. We have screws here, here, and here. They're all T8 screws. Very nice deep carry pocket clip, which I enjoy. It has a bit of a weak detent, which I don't like. And then the liner lock, although in everyday use it's fine, it's never failed on me. If you do add like pressure hitting downwards, this will buckle. You do a spine rack here, this will buckle. But I've never had it. It was never a problem as I used it on a daily basis. Full steel liners. It does do the Teflon bronze on one side and then Teflon bronze on the other side, but it does give a very smooth action. It does this and it has almost no blade play. In fact, yeah, I can't really tell if there's any blade play at all, and it's extremely smooth out there. This is like a budget Spencer. I know a lot of people are gonna not like that phrase, but if you want like a budget, maybe not Spencer, if you want like a budget what's that, quiet carry waypoint, then this is a good option for you if you only have 30 bucks to spare. Also stainless steel. This is a 440C, which I really like in terms of budget steel. This guy right here, is this a 440C? Hold on, this is a sorry, this is a Japanese Akudo steel, which is actually very similar to 440C. This guy on the other hand is 440C. As you can see there, 440C. It has definitely a better fidget factor because it is a, they call it a G-lock, but it's functionally the same as a Benchmade Axis lock, but without the broken Omega springs. It's just a nice knife in hand. It has really nice ergonomics because all these little finger grooves here actually fit my fingers quite well. It has some nice jimping in the back here, and on the top here, no jimping at the top here, which I would have preferred because that's where my thumb wants to rest. Very sharp knife out of the pocket, very thin blade stock. The only thing that turns me off about this knife is it is not a deep carry pocket clip, which I prefer, and the disassembly is not as straightforward as this guy. This is just a simple liner lock, whereas this is kind of like a sliding bar lock, axis lock kind of ordeal. You can check out my disassembly videos. Now, if I were to sell one and keep one, my ultimate choice is, I'm guessing my ultimate choice is, I would get rid of this guy and keep this guy, just because, well, and I really don't know. I think it's like the deep carry pocket clip just impresses me so much. Now, when it comes to things that are this close, it's just the small details which will give it the win. And for me, the deep carry pocket clip gives the win for me. Now, with that being said, I don't think I would sell this. I would give it to someone like a friend or whatever to use because it's really inexpensive, and I'd rather just give this to someone that I really like my best friend or something. Not to say I would never sell this, but I would prefer doing that. Okay, so you have our top four, and of this top four, you have the 10-gram Santa Fe, you have the Spyderco Opera 3 Lightweight ZTO 450 CF, and you have this guy. This is the Native 5 Salt. Okay, next up, I would get rid of this guy. I think because these other knives have no problem with the lock failing from spine rack tests. See, failed. I think then that is kind of, if I want to only keep one knife for my life, I would keep a knife that would work in almost every situation and not fail on me. So bye-bye. Okay, next up, we're gonna get rid of the ZTO 450 CF. This is mostly a fidget knife more than anything at this point. It is a compensation knife. This is a knife that I carry around when I feel like I need to compensate for something. It is has the best detent and the best flip action that I've felt so far in my life. It just fires out with a lot of speed. You know, it drops down. It doesn't like freely drop, you gotta shake it, but then it just flings down as well. You know, ergonomics let it down for me. Materials are really good. It doesn't have a deep carry pocket clip. It is not the easiest to disassemble. Free spinning pivot screws here, screw straight into the titanium. So this guy is more of a trophy knife, to be honest. So because of that, it's going out of my collection. Okay, so we now have our top two. Now in the previous versions of this, my top two woods were these two. Okay, but now my top two are these two. And as cliche as it is, the two Spydercos are in my top two. Okay, so why are these two in my top two? Let's start with this guy, Para 3 Lightweight. The advantages of this guy is that it has very good ergonomics, a little bit sharp on the inside, but very good ergonomics overall. It has nice thumb ramps, some very good jimping. So if you want a knife that you can really pierce or poke into something, like a bag of sand or packaging or whatever it is, then this pinch grip right here is going to be very useful for you. CTS BD1N, so nice blade steel. Edge retention similar to 154cm, I feel. At least that's what people tell me. In terms of corrosion resistance, pretty good corrosion resistance. One of the biggest factors why I like this guy is the fidget factor, which is this compression lock. I love compression lock, and who doesn't love compression lock? It's a very good lock. There is no like wiggle up or down. A little bit of a wiggle side to side, but I think that's because you have bronze on one side and then just plastic on the other side, which I'm very disappointed about. I mean, Spyderco, come on, why can't you just have a little bit of a steel something on here, and then you can have the bronze washes on the other side. Make it a little bit smoother and a little bit more durable over time. Another thing I really like about this knife is the texture on the FRN scales. Very nice. You have matte finishes on the side there, and then you have this kind of nice volcano pattern. It is not as deep or as grippy as this guy, and it has, to be honest, slipped out of my hand a little bit, but I think that hasn't been a problem anymore. Overall, great fidget factor, great user knife. I've used this knife a lot. It's probably the most blunt knife I have in my collection right now because I've just been using it so much during the move. It has a nice wire deep carry pocket clip, which I really do enjoy. This guy right here, this guy, native 5 salt. This is a knife that I have to say that it's a knife that I've enjoyed carrying more and more. I didn't like the color of the scales when I first got it, or when I looked at it in the pictures, but as I kept it in my collection, I really liked it because it really stands out. A couple of things that really stand out here is the other than the color of the scales, is the ergonomics. This is the most ergonomic knife I've ever felt. Just everything melts in your hand really nicely. It doesn't have a pinch grip because it doesn't have the ramp of a Para 3 lightweight, but you can definitely like pinch up. And then coupled with the texture of the scale, which is more aggressive than the Para 3 lightweight, this just is not going to move anywhere in your hand. And being a salt knife, a knife that's meant to be used in the water, this is, I think it suits that purpose very well. The clip, I'm actually a right-hander, so the clip should be here, but I moved it around so that actually improves the ergonomics a little bit as well, because I don't have this clip, which was not even a hotspot, but now this clip is not even there at all for to mess with the ergonomics. It actually fits quite well, and actually my finger actually goes into this little dip right here quite well. It actually improves the grip of the knife quite nicely. Possibly the best feature of this knife is that it is completely rust proof. The Salt series by Spyderco is completely rust proof. LC200, and we have DLC coated screws. It's just a fantastic knife overall. And if I were to be really honest, you know, right now we live in a world of uncertainty. We have a new lockdown happening here in Malaysia. So at the end of the day, you know, this is the knife that I want to carry when I do not want to worry about anything else, because there's already so many things in this world that I worry about. You know, worrying about a knife rusting in my pocket, it's just one thing I needed to push out of my head. So with that being said, I think the conclusion is pretty simple. I love both of these knives. They both serve very different functions. This is like a everyday carry, good fidget knife that I can use on a daily basis. This is a knife that I also carry on a daily basis. It doesn't have the same fidget factor, although I can still close it with one hand like that and open it with one hand. So although I don't have as much fun with this guy compared to this guy actually has less of a headache than this guy, because back locks are very strong. It's definitely stronger than the compression lock to my understanding. Watch the Blade HQ video where they test locks. It is a knife that I do not need to worry about it ever rusting in my pocket, or in any situation that I can think of, any practical situation that I can think of. The only thing is that it doesn't have a deep carry pocket clip, but just the ergonomics of this knife is so good that it compensates for that. So my only knife that I would keep in my collection, if I had to sell off everything, is this guy. The Spyderco Native 5 Salt. You can watch the full review, it's on my channel. And thank you very much. As you can see, my top 2 knives are Spyderco, so that just shows you how great Spyderco knives, how great I feel Spyderco knives are. Okay guys, thank you so much, and do check out my reviews on all these knives. They're on my channel, and as always, stay ready.